Hello everybody, here we go with Unit 5 in Geometry. It's a little different than the trigonometry we just got done with. It is very spatial. What that means is you're going to have to see things. So we're going to work on that. We're going to draw a few things, we're going to practice with them, and as we move forward, we're going to take them a little bit deeper. So without further ado, let's go. This page right here is going to be kind of your review notes. It's stuff that they expect you to know, so we're going to review it just a little bit to make sure we do know it. Here's the number one thing: the difference between a prism and a pyramid. So again, these are your notes. Pause these videos whenever you need to get your notes updated. A prism has two parallel and congruent bases. You have seen prisms all over the place. A pop can is a prism. A dice is a prism. Prisms all over the place. Then we also have pyramids. When you see pyramids, oftentimes you think of those things in Egypt, and you're absolutely right. It is one base that comes to a point. So we're going to draw these things, all right? So here we go, a cylinder. How do you draw a cylinder? Well, a cylinder, since it is a prism, it's got two bases. Your bases are circles. So what do? Well, instead of drawing a perfect circle, I'm going to draw kind of an oval. And up here we said two parallel and congruent bases. I'm going to try and draw the same thing up here. And I'm just going to simply connect them. So some people like to draw them on their side like that. Some people will go and make like a little arc down here and then go straight up and make that same arc on the bottom. Oops, that wasn't very close. And on the top. So there's your cylinder. Oftentimes with cylinders, what we want to do to really visualize what's going on here is we want to complete the base and then shade it in. Since these are my bases, I'm going to shade them in. Again, we're trying to train our eye to see all these different shapes. So whatever you got to do to make your shapes pop, do it. For me, it makes a lot of sense when I shade in the bases. I can see what the shapes are. So now a cone is very similar to that. A cone is a circle that comes to a point. You can make all kinds of cones that you want. I'm going to shade in the base. Some people, that makes no sense to them, so what they like to do is they like to make a little arc down here and go up to the top to a point. And then it's always a good idea to try and complete your shape. Put dotted lines on stuff that you can't see, but you know it's there. So those are your cones. Go ahead and get some cones jotted down. Rectangular pyramids, what that means is, since, whoops, this should be, I got them backwards. Let's fix this. Let's call this prism. Sorry about that. Let's call this pyramid. So now I got all my prisms on the left side. So rectangular prism, pretty simple. I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Again, these guys are parallel and congruent. So up here I'm going to draw a 2 by 3. And if this is a prism, I got to connect the corresponding parts. This one I can't see, but I know it's there. All right, so you look at this thing and you might be saying, well, how do I know which base is which? Well, you're right. They are all kinds of parallel and congruent bases. So if you want to do front and back, you sure can. I'm going to shade in top and bottom, because I'm going to call those parallel and congruent bases. It really doesn't matter which ones you pick as long as they are parallel and congruent. So those are my bases. Same thing over here with the rectangular pyramid. This one, I kind of like to make it like this, where all the sides are parallel. I know it looks like a rhombus, but I'm going to call that a rectangular prism. I'm going to put a dot up in space, and I'm going to connect all of my points to this dot. Right now that might look like a goofy shape to you. To me it does. So what do? I like to shade in the base. That tells me that there's a rectangle in the bottom of there. All right, a couple more here. We got a cube. Cube, if you remember, all the sides and all sides are parallel and congruent. So if I'm going to go with, like I say, a 2 by 2, that is a square. I'm going to go up here with a 2 by 2. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to connect all these guys. Again, how do you know which ones are your bases? It doesn't matter. They are parallel and congruent. So I'm going to go with the back. And the front. I'm going to make the front look a little different. You can do top and bottom. You can do whatever you want to do, but the bases are parallel and congruent. And then the last shape we got here is a sphere. Sphere is really tough. It's a big circle with an arc going through the front. And then again, I'm going to complete that. Hopefully now it looks like a ball, because that is what a sphere is. So what we are going to do, excuse me, is we are going to take all of these shapes and we're going to dissect it. We're going to do cross sections. We're going to do all kinds of different things to it. But in order to get there, we got to understand what's going on in these pictures. So there you have it. Video number 1 done for the day. Congratulations.